I cannot tell you how this feels. I really can't. Thank you all so very much for this honour. And it is an incredible honour that you are allowing me to do this. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you to Ed I don't know how you do it, to be quite honest. Our fantastic committee, our fantastic members above all. I know how hard so many of you work, and I know why you're doing it. You're doing it out of commitment and devotion and love and passion for this country. Thank you so very much. I'm honoured. I am truly, truly honoured to be here. And to look around this room, if you told me 10 months ago when we started that this is where we'd be now, I would never have believed you. So thank you all very much. You're doing this for the country. You're doing this for your grandchildren, and I'm doing this for your grandchildren. Now, there are people who accuse us of harking back to an old era. They tell us that we should learn to let go and embrace the new Britain of diversity and multiculturalism. They tell us that diversity and multiculturalism is our strength. It's a symbol of our strength. Of course, we live in upside-down worlds, so the opposite of that is the truth. Now, when I look back on a Britain that understood liberty. I look back on a Britain that had a sense of humour. I look back on a Britain that understood truth and the importance of truth. It wasn't perfect. Nothing is perfect. But it was far, far greater than we are teaching our children. And it was far, far greater than the tyranny that we are entering into today. And it was very much great enough for us to stand up and defend it. And that is what we are going to do. Now, I come to this not out of hate. I come to this out of love. And today we are here to express our love. Our love for this country, for our way of life, and a way of life that is being taken away from us. It isn't being taken away because we've been militarily conquered. We haven't. Our own leaders are taking our country away from us. We have not been conquered, but we act like we have. We have been trodden on by our own leaders. Britain needs new leaders. Our political class. Our political class have signed us up to this. Signed us up to end our way of life and to tell us that all cultures are to be honoured and respected, except one. Guess which one? Ours. Now, the reason that British and Western culture are under such sustained attack by the established elites is because it is a culture of freedom and strength. That's why they're attacking it. And freedom and strength are the enemies of the globalist elite. And it is a freedom and strength that for Britain will revive in this country. And we will do it by reminding the British people who they are and why this great country is worth saving and defending. We will remind the British people who they are. We are here to declare our intent. We will not go quietly into the new age of oppression. We are here to strike back, to strike a blow for the people of Britain, not the leaders. Those who built this country and who have every right to claim it as their own. We are here to remind people that Britain is not just a piece of land. It is a living, breathing being with an identity, a history, a heritage, and a legacy on this earth that is deserving of pride, a legacy of influence, ingenuity, and liberty. We will revive this. We will do it by standing on a very specific platform, a platform of truth and of clarity. So let me start with clarity. Who are we? We are the forgotten majority, and we're here to claim our liberties. We are strong and determined, and that is why we are feared. Nobody attacks you unless they fear you. Let's make that clear. Always remember that. That is the key to our success. This very conference, of course, has come under attack from the haters of the extreme left, who dominate the press and therefore the establishment elite. They call us far right. No, we're just right, and they know it. That's why they attack us. I understand, by the way, that Hope Not Hate is busily seeking anti-Semitism and hatred and bigotry, and I would love to help, but I'm afraid I don't quite know where the Labour Party conference is. But the far-right label is, of course, used with impunity. Like hate speech and hate crime, it requires no evidence. The mere label equals guilt. But our message to the press today is one of defiance. Your labels will not stop us in our noble cause. It will not hold us back, because it is built upon a lie. And a lie, while it may appear powerful, is only a facade. And that facade can never stand in the face of the truth. It is only a matter of time before the mainstream media is exposed for the liars that they are. Far from embracing hatred, we reject it. We are not the haters here. We reject those who seek a fractured Britain. A Britain of lawlessness, a Britain of suspicion and fear. We reject the hatred of those who hate us, and we will not bow down to it. We reject anti-white racism, the anti-Semitism, the misogyny, the gay bashing, the illiberalism that has been embraced by those on the left, while it gets into bed with hate-filled, the most hate-filled Islamic maniacs on earth. Instead, we seek a Britain of unity, where we are all united under the banner of British, with a common language, a common identity, and a common commitment to liberty. We seek a Britain where the individual is valued on their own merit and not elevated to special status on the basis of their skin colour or religion. We seek a British Britain that people are welcome to share in, but not to destroy. We seek a Britain where our right to speak and think as we see fit is protected and enshrined in law. We seek a Britain that honours those who fought and died on beaches and battlefields so that we may live freely. Therefore, today For Britain proposes a new UK constitution. One that takes what is great about our past and brings it forward to a new future. We will revive the Magna Carta and enshrine it in law once again. For Britain's proposals mean that no transient passing MPs or Parliament may remove the fundamental rights of the people of this country. They simply will not and should not be able to do it. And no longer will the corrupt political class create laws that imprison us without evidence. No longer will the corrupt political class pass laws to disempower and reduce us to serfdom. Our constitution will spell out the rights and responsibilities of all British citizens, and we will remind our ruling class just who is in charge here. We, the people, are in charge here. And it's because we are in charge, and it's because we, the people, are in charge that we demand that our vote of June 23rd, 2016 is respected and implemented. It is one of the most important tasks we have in front of us. We must leave the European Union now. Walk away, deal or no deal. Walk away. We will leave the customs union. We will leave the single market. We will control our borders, and we will trade on our terms with whoever we like, however we like. The EU is a bully. its mask has slipped. And there is only one way to deal with bullies. Stand up to them. So Theresa May from For Britain today, stand up to the EU. And if you can't, you find that you can't, please make way for those of us who will. But we, unique in British politics, we will go further than Brexit. It simply isn't enough. And just as the British fought totalitarianism in the 20th century, it will be the British who fight it in the 21st century. We will bring down the EU and restore freedom in Europe. We will, we can, and we will. We will stand with fellow Europeans who believe in the same fight. We will work with our allies in defence of democracy, and we will do so unashamedly. We will stand with the United States of America and the values on which she was built. We will stand with Israel, who stands at the front line of the war against jihad. We will stand with Israel against the medieval monsters of Islam. Back home, we will get the basics right. We will put our own people first. Imagine that. Put your own people first. Give British children the best possible start in life. This means reform education and demand an end to indoctrination. Our schools are factories of the extreme left. Teachers and teachers' unions are pushing radical left-wing ideas onto children, and they are free to do so with the complicity of our treacherous and dangerous politicians. There should be no more government funding for indoctrination in British schools. No more. We will put a stop to the Islamic propaganda, to the transgender propaganda, and we will end the lies and smears of our own history and restore national pride in British children. We'll do it because we must do it. Policing must be reformed for the same reason. We have entered a post-law and order era. Policing is now focused on raising awareness or community outreach. So For Britain today will make it clear to the police, raising awareness is not your job. Community outreach is not your job. If you fail to do your job, which is enforce the law, we will remove you from that job. It's really very simple. Hate and feelings are not your job either. And when we remove you from your job for not doing it, it won't be the fellow corrupt establishment who you are answerable to. It will be the British people that you are answerable to. They will be the ones to remove you from your job. Today, For Britain proposes public sector accountability, a real method made available to people, not expensive, so that they may hold police chiefs to account. If the people of Rotherham had had the ability to punish South Yorkshire police, the rape would have stopped. It would have. Because the police, part of the corrupt establishment, are only answerable to the corrupt establishment, the rape continues in Rotherham just as it was to this day. There is no accountability. We must hold the police to account. We must. It is absolutely vital. We must hold the whole of the public sector to account. I include the NHS in that. Now, For Britain supports the NHS, the values on which it was founded, but we will not continue to throw taxpayers' money down the drain. Theresa May said she wants to raise taxes to pay for the NHS. And all the while, the so-called management pour this money down the drain. The British taxpayer will no longer fund incompetence. We will no longer fund a health service to be utilised by the entire world either. policies are not an attack on the NHS. They are an attempt to save it from the status quo. Our policies will save the NHS from the privatisers, from those making millions for their own pockets while adding absolutely nothing to the health service. We have a question. Who exactly is profiting from £billion NHS contracts? We want to know. We want the public to know. We want a full audit of the NHS. Why is Virgin making millions out of our health service? We want to know. And we want to know also which MPs are profiting from contracts in the health service. We want to know. We stand in defence of the NHS because we know the poorest will suffer disproportionately without it. But also to defend the vulnerable, because we are a compassionate country. And it's because we believe in the defence of the vulnerable that we demand local government across this country do its legal duty and protect children from harm. All children, no matter their religion or background. We will not allow medieval barbarism in the name of multiculturalism, and the values of the British majority will be upheld and children protected. There will be no more political correctness in law or local government. We will restore the democratic value of one law for all. Because we defend the vulnerable, we also defend the voiceless. Now, For Britain is unique for many reasons, and our sympathy, our compassion, and our common sense policies for the benefit of animals also sets us apart. We propose a comprehensive reform of animal welfare, putting compassion at its centre. We will end all unstunned religious slaughter without exception. That means that all animals will be stunned to unconsciousness prior to slaughter with no exceptions whatsoever. That is our policy. We will stick with it. But what, of course, needs our greatest defence is the country itself. And For Britain will stand for and with our armed forces, in full recognition and respect of the enormous sacrifices UK troops make to ensure the security of our people. We will not only increase our border forces, but increase spending to 3% of GDP and ensure that Britain's troops on the ground, in the air and at sea are fully resourced and, well, paid rather better. We will also prioritise veterans in mental health, on which we will spend more, but other NHS services, housing and employment. We will defend those who defend us, who put their lives on the line for our country. We will stand with the British forces always. Can we afford all of this? What about the economy? Well, our economic vision is fairly simple. Low tax, low waste, low regulation, let the people create and invent and allow them to make us wealthy. Simple. End public sector waste. End public sector waste. Reduce our national debt, for future generations will be drowning in it. We will end foreign aid and leave the EU, and that will save us millions. We are fully aware of the current dependency on migrant workers in the UK. This too must be fixed as a matter of priority. Now, it isn't good enough that young Brits are left without training or employment because it's cheaper to import labour. It's not good enough that young Britons feel a life of benefit dependency is a viable option. It is not. Immigration will be drastically reduced and permanent settlement frozen for 5 years. We must catch our breath. We must focus on illegal immigration and enforcing migration laws. We must know who is in this country and who has no right to be here. And when we find them, we will send them back to where they came from. They shouldn't be here. Those who commit crimes in this country will be deported, regardless of the threat or situation they face in their home country. We will get rid of the Human Rights Act and remove those who pose a threat to the British people. This is, of course, not the entire manifesto. I hope that you've managed to get a copy. One thing, final thing I want to talk about, and that is freedom. Freedom of speech, which is the freedom to express opinion or tell truths about any matter whatsoever, without any legal sanction from the state. To be clear, the state should not, cannot, and will not tell the people of this country what they are allowed to say. Nor will the state prevent free people from participating in the democratic process or questioning the powerful or holding them to account. Freedom of speech and the free exchange of ideas is what has made our wonderful Western culture so successful. We must defend it with every piece of energy we have got. We, for Britain, in respect and in homage to free speech, we will be the ones to say the unsayable. For Britain will speak openly and critically of Islam, no matter how offensive it may be. It is a matter of objective fact, truth, that not all religions are the same. Whether a religion presents a threat to our liberties is determined by the teachings of the religion itself. This is common sense. And it's the question we need to answer. What does Islam teach? The answer is not a very comforting one. Islam does teach the domination of other cultures and peoples. Islam does call for the implementation of Sharia law across the world. Sharia law is brutal, oppressive, does not allow free speech, treats women and girls as property, murders people for blasphemy and apostasy. Now, does this mean that every individual Muslim supports these things? No. But it does mean, but we understand that not every Muslim has to support them for them to be dangerous. People are being killed all over Europe by this religion, and just because not all Muslims do it, doesn't mean it's not happening. We must tell the truth about the teachings of this religion, and we have to do it fast and soon, because we are in big trouble. We are in big trouble. As a leader for Britain, I will promise you something today. I will stand firm. I have stood firm throughout my political life, and I'm not about to let you down now. Don't be persuaded or seduced by short-termism, or put your faith in parties who have already caused all these problems, or parties who have had years to stand up to this, but have refused to do so, until, of course, it became convenient to do so. Never trust those who change their tune. They will change it again. And never trust those either who tell you that what you set out to do is impossible. Nothing that we are setting out to do is impossible. The greatest achievements in history were once deemed to be impossible. Remember your truth. Remember the agenda and the motivation of those who seek to disempower you. They are your enemies. Now, for Britain is already making history, and the time for us is now. And never forget what we've already achieved, and never underestimate its importance. We have already shaken British politics. When we stood in a London parliamentary by-election, who was it that the cowards of Labour and Conservative refused to be seen with? Who was it? It was us. We shook them so much they didn't attend. And they didn't attend, they told us, because they didn't want to share a platform with hate. They didn't attend because they have no answer to what I will say to them. That's why they didn't attend. Please take heart from all this. I do. Because I know that if we didn't matter, we wouldn't matter. But we do matter. And we matter to the established powers precisely because they know we will matter to the British public. We will give them their country and their pride back. And that is why we are being scuppered. Never lose heart in this. We are at the very beginning of our journey. And I promise you that I will commit my heart and soul to it, if you will. There are no quick fixes here. This is going to be a long slog. But it's a journey. It's the journey that will set us free, and not the destination. And while we strive towards a free Britain, and a Britain that is recognisable as British, we will revive the faith of the British people, even in the darkest of times, and we are already doing so. So don't worry about the knocks. That's simply a part of life. Obstacles and daily challenges, as we very well know, are simply a part of life. Let's not let them grind us down. The attacks will come, but our response to them is what will determine whether we succeed or fail. Use those attacks to strengthen your resolve, as I do. The answer is to stand firm, unwavering, focus on our own message. Don't look beside, look ahead. Focus on ourselves. We will persevere. And to the extreme left, to the Labour Party, and to Jeremy Corbyn and his white-hating, Britain-hating allies, I want to say this. The great French writer Victor Hugo said, "There is no greater force on this earth than an idea whose time has come." Our time has come. Thank you all very much for coming here today.